Shalom, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua Bahashim Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds, who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushua. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalia, and I'm from the GMS Jamaica Kingston camp, and this video is about the Mark of the Beast prophecy, which is the microchip. Alright, so today's video on the Mark of the Beast, which is that microchip, is going to be focusing on the digital identification system, which is coming in, the biometric digital identification system. Alright, now this digital identification system is a worldwide thing. Everywhere around the world is doing it. Out here in Jamaica, it's called the National Identification System, the NIDS. Over there in India, it's called the Aadhaar system. Over there in China, it's coming in. Over there in Estonia, they have it called whatever it is. Okay, everywhere around the world is developing their digital identification system. And why is that? Because the digital identification is a part of the system in order for the microchip to work. All right. Now, let's just get the prophecy real quick. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. So the prophecy is that unless you have the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, you won't be able to buy or sell, i.e., you won't be able to function in society. If you can't buy things, you won't survive. If you can't, if you won't have access to services, any kind of services, you won't be able to survive in this society the way that it is built. And for all the people that would be like, oh, they're off the grid and whatever else, listen, y'all gonna get caught out there regardless. Okay, so that's why the prophecy itself, it says he causeth all. Okay, he causeth all. The prophecy speaks before any kind of opinions or anything like that from the people around the world. Okay, so the prophet speaks first, and so it has to do with buying and selling. Of course, now let me pull out the digital identification system, which is pushed by the World Economic Forum, the WEF. It is a part of their main agenda. Right, and this digital identification system will include every single thing about your entire life, every single thing that you can think of. It's going to be stored on it. It's already happening. It already has happened to a certain degree where you consolidate a lot of your personal information onto one thing, right? Even for certain identification already, like a passport, a lot of your information is already on that. My passport has all of my identification, including my biometric information. Actually, within my passport as well, I have a biometric ID right there in the passport, an actual biometric ID. Okay, so I'm just gonna speak as a man on that. I don't know what really, but when I saw that number, I was like, oh wow, I wonder if this is the biometric ID, right? That they'll be using for the identification for individuals who have a microchip, right, or just individuals in general. To start, will have a unique biometric ID, and then that's just going to be transferred onto the microchip, just like this digital identification system, because the microchip is going to store that information on it, right? Okay, and then that microchip is going to be that all for one use. I'll come back to this picture, okay, but here it is. Airport biometrics set the example for other sectors. And this is, Biometric ID is a very important website at this moment in time. It provides a lot of information regarding the development of the system worldwide. All right, you also have like NFC World, you have PYMNTS.com, you have CoinGeek, you have CoinDesk, you have Ledger Insights. You can go to Routers and Bloomberg if you want to, but that's behind a paywall these days. But yeah, so they do their updates, and it's like this is like the weekly roundup. So biometrics Rollouts at airports supplied several of the most popular articles of the week on biometric update. Along with modal biometric systems for government programs, IDEMIO features in 2 airport projects. So I just wanted to pull up what IDEMIO is. IDEMIO, that's in Spanish. IDEMIO is a multinational technology company headquartered in France. It sells or it provides identity-related services and sells facial recognition and other biometric identification products and software to private companies and governments. Okay, cool. Okay. So now we know what IDEMIA is. It's featured in 2 airport projects, one ongoing. IDEMIA has also won a US government contract. Now remember what it is that they provide. And the American Army's new biometrics collection capability is near a production launch. A new biometric template protection patent filing from MasterCard and China's new national digital ID also grabbed headlines this week. This American thing is interesting because, I do remember, and if I do remember it correctly, if I am incorrect, please forgive me, Baba Kashab, but I do remember the elder Apostle Tahar saying that when this system is rolling out, that certain sectors will be getting hit first with this microchip. So it's going to be like certain sectors like the military first and certain, government and public entities. And then it's going to hit the private companies after. So it makes sense, right? Why IDEMIA will be providing to the, the American Army first. Okay, anyway. Let's see. IDEMIA is in the process of installing a biometric automated border control system at the first of several South African airports. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of information here, but I want to go to the main part of some. So the US is using this IDEMIA biometric identification system to the US IRS. Okay, cool. US Army has taken steps towards the 2025 launch of its next generation biometric collection capability by successfully completing field tests. Okay. China's government has begun a trial of its national digital ID within days of announcing its intention. The system is supposed to protect people's privacy, but is prompting fears of pervasive online tracking and increased social control. Now, if you don't know about China right now, China is, quite along the way, I would say, regarding the implementation of the system. They already have a social credit score over there, where if you jaywalk, you literally will lose points off of that social credit score, and then it will prevent you from gaining access to certain things. All right. And I'm not just talking about government services or whatever else. I mean, I'm talking about like, if you don't have enough social points, you're not even allowed to go into certain restaurants and stuff like that. It's really strict. Okay. So now when you have that, and then you have your national digital identity, right? And then you can easily be identified by way of your biometrics. I mean, they already do that over there in China, right? To the social credit system. Apparently, like if you jaywalk or something, the cameras, right, especially in those smart cities that they have, the cameras will pick you up, pick up the face, and they will automatically just charge it to you, But the digital ID has more to it than just that, and this is it here once again. All of these things on it, okay, will be stored onto that digital identity, right? Now, China digital ID, I just went to this one, which was 5 days ago. China starts national digital ID trial barely a week after releasing draft plan. Barely a week. So they're moving quickly. Things are moving quickly. And also China is developing their digital yuan, which is their central bank digital currency, which the central bank digital currencies are worldwide as well being built, okay, being developed. And that's a part of the system. It's going to be the new way to pay. It's a digital payment system, right? And so when you go back to this picture here and what they want to store on digital ID, there it is, the financial services to open bank accounts to carry out online financial transactions. What is it? As central bank digital currency. Okay. So that's going to be stored with your digital identification, right? And then it's going to all be put onto the microchip, and that microchip is just an all for one use. When it is that people have the microchip, They will simply scan and all of their information will come up. Every single thing will come up about the person. Everything. Their entire life history, right? Okay. So China starts national digital ID trial barely a week after releasing a plan. That makes me think of Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Um, the devil cometh with great wrath because he knoweth that he hath a short time, right? Esau, Edom, so-called white man, the rulers of this wicked kingdom today, they know their time is short, right? The scriptures say that his bounds are appointed that he cannot pass, right? So this kingdom, this wicked kingdom, has an expiry date, and they know that there is an expiry date, and they know it's coming, right? The prophets of Yahweh Shemishai have been risen, prophesying the truth and everything. All right, so they know their kingdom is coming to an end. So at the end of their kingdom, they're going to be moving with great wrath, and they're going to be moving swiftly as well to implement their system, which is their NWO agenda with the microchip, which is a mark of the beast at the head of it. All right. So China has launched a trial of its national digital identity system across 81 apps just days after the release of its draft regulations for public comment. All right. While the feedback period runs until August 25th, those who wish to get in on digital ID early can apply through the National Web Identification Pilot Version app developed by the Ministry of Public Security. According to a report in Kaijing Global, the registration process requires identity document verification using a national ID card matched against face biometrics. Once a mobile phone check is complete and a password has been created, an online number and digital certificate will be issued. Okay. So one thing about China is that China and actually Korea, and they mention it somewhere, but I can't find it right now. But their system over there, like you have to have um in order to gain access to certain things online already, your identity is attached to it. So there really isn't anonymity online over there. For example, in Korea, right? Korea, they like to sign up for certain video games. You have to have, you have your Korean ID, and your Korean ID is connected to your identity on the game. So there's no hiding, right? Um, and that's where it's going. And I mentioned that, but you know what? Let me try and find what I wanted to find. Okay. This is it actually. Okay, China is planning the launch of a national digital ID, and in a sense, it is surprising that it has taken this long. Beijing's tight control on the media and robust public surveillance state are no secret. Beyond the notorious Great Firewall, Chinese internet users already have to provide an ID and phone number to register for popular platforms such as WeChat and Weibo. While the government says a digital identity system would protect online privacy, there are many who believe the digital ID would only tighten and centralize the government's control over people and their data. And there's a verification of what I just said, right? So you see the system that's coming in, it's like coming in so gradually. It's just coming in like and in different parts as well, right? Because even when you look around the world, right, you have digital identification systems coming, you have central bank digital currencies coming, and everything else along with it to ensure the stability of the system. And each country is at a different stage, right? Um, yeah, man. Okay. So with that, you see what it mentioned, the WeChat, the Weibo, and that. Let's go back to the picture. The digital identity, here it is. Social platforms for social interactions to access third-party services that rely on social media logins. Once again, you see where they're heading. Even with the internet, it's just going to be like you won't be anonymous anymore, because you're going to have your digital identity, and your digital identity is going to be tied to your online identity, and it's going to be that for everything. Okay, everything right here, right? So right here as well, over here in Jamaica, I'm not even going to play the video, but the prime minister out here urges Jamaicans to accept the NIDS, which is the National Identification System out here. He urges them, right? And it has been used as, because we had that hurricane that came, and they're doing whatever to fix whatever. They're saying, "Oh, jump onto the NIDS," but I'm like, why? It's like, why do you need the national identification? Why urge it? What are you trying to do? You need to identify people, right? So what about the current methods of identification? Regardless of the matter, they are going to hold on.
Beryl makes as great a case as any for a national identification system. That's according to the government, which today ostensibly relaunched its campaign for NIDS. The Social Security Ministry has been on the ground in the hardest hit regions following Beryl, which pummeled southern parishes on July 3. While recovery is progressing at a steady pace, Labor Minister Pernell Charles Jr. contends a national identification program would have expedited efforts.
How?
We have to, as a country, come to a place where we have our data in a structured way so we don't have to be running around to identify persons. We must be able to identify.
So where is the TRN to identify them? Well, then again, the TRN card out here, I don't think it has a name on it, you know. But regardless, you know, whatever it is that they're pushing, you know, there's wickedness behind it. There's an agenda behind it, and it is, you know, our own people are selling our own people. But that's for another video. Anyway, that's what's going on. Just one more as well. India reports 1.38 billion Aadhaar numbers generated. What's the Aadhaar? Their digital identification system. Now, I did notice that both India and China have a very, very, very heavy focus on those countries in regards to developing the system, because India is very far ahead. They have their Aadhaar digital identification system, and here it is, 1.38 billion already numbers already generated, right? Now, mind you, China and India have the largest world's population, and India now has the world's largest population according to Google and ESA. Okay, so it makes sense why the Edomites, right, who are the so-called white people, right, why the Edomites rulers would want to get the majority of those, you know, those populations, because they have the most. It's smart, right? But they're very far ahead with their digital identification system. It's already been launched. Their digital rupee been in the works, right? China, same thing. Digital ID, there it is. I brought it up earlier. Swiftly, not even a week, they brought it to the front. Digital yuan. So you know what this says? The time is short. Okay? We're getting closer, man, day by day. And I know these days seem long, but you must persevere. And I too must persevere. Romans 13 and verse 11, and that knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. And it truly is. All right, it truly is. And just like all of the other things written, this too shall be. So with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Shem Yeshua, Basham Kakodesh, Shalom.